Hello, everybody. I'm Nešković from the World Academy of Art and Science, and I'll give a brief introduction to the event. In August last year, the UN General Assembly proclaimed the International Decade of Sciences for Sustainable Development from 2024 to 2033. The task to lead the preparation and implementation of the activities within the decade was given to UNESCO. In April this year, the Earth Humanity Coalition was founded as an association of global, regional, and national scientific organizations with the task to prepare and implement, in close cooperation with UNESCO, various initiatives within the overall program of the decade. The World Academy of Art and Science was among the founding members of the coalition. It had initiated a program of sciences for sustainable development, which became a specific initiative of the coalition. The WAAS talks on science for human security focused on measuring sustainability. This webinar is the fifth one within this program. The reports on the previous four webinars can be found on the Academy's website page events. Now, I'm asking Phoebe, the moderator of the event, to present the speakers and also to give us an overview of measuring sustainability. Phoebe, please.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here. I am delighted that you are Mr. Vice President of our Academy introducing the series. This is a series under the WAAS talks, the World Academy of Art and Science talks, focusing on the importance of being able to measure the implementation of sustainability. This means quantification of the achievement of the implementation of sustainable targets and goals. And it also implies that once we have this quantification, we can also continuously assess our progress towards the achievement of a sustainable interaction between the natural systems, the social systems, and the economic systems. So this is a 2-hour event, and it will be moderated by myself. I will set the scene by introducing current efforts to measuring sustainability, mainly done under my research group, the Alliance of Excellence for Research and Innovation on Aephoria. And then we have some wonderful speakers, really leading scientists and leading impactful scientists that are driving important research and innovation initiatives on sustainability, on the measurement of sustainability. Our first speaker is my good friend and colleague and fellow scientist. We work together on many really large projects, bringing together the whole of Europe, including Turkey and the Balkans, into discussions for retrieving and developing pathways, holistic and integrated pathways in completely integrated and interdisciplinary mode for the transition to sustainability. So Bariş, Salihoğlu, and excuse me, Barry, for the pronunciation of the surname, is the director of the Institute of Marine Sciences in the Middle East Technical University of Turkey. And he will be focusing his work on his presentation, sorry about that, on the Black Sea region. And he will be looking at opportunities that allow us to address human security through innovative projects and integrated approaches. Mainly in the region of the Black Sea, but of course the approaches that we develop for the Black Sea are replicable for other seas, and are also interestingly advancing the concept of digital twin for oceans. A concept within the initiative of Digital Earth in Europe that we think it will be instrumental for recognizing the effects of climate change and other environmental challenges like ecosystems collapse on oceans, and then the impacts of those crises, of those challenges on the economy and the society. And from the quantification of the impacts, solution pathways will be derived away from really letting the crisis to take hand on our situation. So Bari will really be bringing in technical and socio-economic and stakeholder integrated solutions for the crisis that our seas and oceans are facing. And it is important to hear to him because to hear what he has to say, because Bari has coordinated and led so many big projects, meaning 20, 30 partner institutions, university and research institutions, from all the disciplines that are relevant for solving problems within the marine spectrum. So it is important to even see how these collaborations are created and how valuable they are in terms of the impact of their results, in terms of the impact of the science-based solutions that they produce. Then I'm very happy to have with us Kostas Dellis, a senior researcher at the research laboratory of the Athens University in Economics and Business. He will be talking about cross-country matrices that he has developed within our team on comprehensive human security assessment. It is important to have standardized frameworks for evaluating, monitoring, and continuously assessing our progress towards economic, food, health, environmental, personal, community, political, and technological dimensions of social security. And he will be showcasing the work on identifying and constructive KPIs and for measuring the implementation of the multi-phase concept of human security and connecting the implementation of the different aspects of human security with the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals of UN Agenda 2030. So again, this is important because we connect the global framework, the global agenda to which 163 countries have committed to in 2015 with the concept of human security. And we are not only connecting those, but Kostas will showcase how we quantify the performance against both of these initiatives. Then I am also delighted to have with us Yannis Ioannidis, Professor Yannis Ioannidis, the president of the Association of Computing Machinery. This is the biggest association, scientific association of the world, with tens, hundreds of thousands of members on computing machinery, information technology, AI, machine learning. And he will be discussing how digital technologies are supporting human security and sustainability. Where does the need for digital technologies lies? How they are instrumental in collecting and creating the data needed to quantify the success of our efforts to allow us to have the means, the data, the software for the models we need to run and integrate in order to provide solution pathways. He will be touching about technologies like Internet of Things and artificial intelligence and big data and everything else appearing in data science pipelines that allow us to optimize the resource use and reduce waste and promote transparency in all processes and supply chain, and enabling evidence-based decision to tackle environmental and social and economic challenges. So this is the digital aspect of the quantification story. And then finally, last but definitely not least, a very important researcher, again, affiliated with the Athena Research and Innovation Center and the Alliance, which is an information technology research center, the biggest one in Greece, but also affiliated with the Alliance of Excellence for Research and Innovation on Aephoria. And she will be talking about the criticality of monitoring and measuring progress towards sustainability and ensuring in participatory-based approaches that we have robust, inclusive, co-designed ways to articulate and measure our progress with regards to sustainability. Ways that are robust, not just scientifically, but also transdisciplinary in terms of integrating the knowledge, the vision, the preferences, the challenges of the different stakeholders that are involved. She will also be talking about major challenges of data availability and accessibility, the collection of socioeconomic data for blue sectors, and also the localization of the solution pathways in a way that are really endorsed, co-owned, and co-shared by the local stakeholders who are actually those who are gonna implement it. So we have a very colorful, scientifically stimulating list of people. And I would like to start the talk and maybe give an overview talk of how we measure sustainability, and then allow the rest of the speakers to come in. Each one has 15 minutes, and then we are going to open the floor for discussion. We hope to have a very, very interactive session, and we also hope that you are gonna send questions and ideas and comments and criticisms, so that this becomes a very interactive session, and at the same time it becomes a session that we can transpose into a statement or a note that we can share with the whole of the community. So let me give you an overview of what we do when we are dealing with measuring sustainability. So what I'm going to be saying in the next 10 to 15 minutes is that it is both important, but also doable to actually quantify the implementation of sustainability. And I'm going to also say that unless I'm going to repeat the wisdom of previous scientists, and I'm going to say that if we cannot measure something, we cannot manage it, we cannot improve it. So it is very, very important to have a very explicit definition of what sustainability is and what kind of KPIs, matrices we need to measure, we need to use in order to measure our achievement of sustainability. And all I'm going to be presenting has been produced under the Alliance of Excellence for Research and Innovation of Aephoria, which brings together the universities and research centers, the innovation accelerators, the science policy networks, and the scientific associations and academies that I participate in. I direct or chair or co-chair or chair their sustainability unit. So this is a team that has been working together for many, many years with more than 200 researchers with many projects across the world, across 120 countries, working on themes on sustainability measurement, ESG measurement, SDG measurement, sustainable finance, also with a special interest in climate neutrality and resilience transition, blue economy, sustainable blue economy transition, sustainable land use and sustainable water, food, energy nexus, sustainable innovation acceleration, and upskilling and reskilling in order to create the capacity for implementation of the SDGs. So basically what we do in our work is to provide science-based, science-driven solution pathways that are firmly supported by transdisciplinary work with the stakeholders that allow you to move from where you are with regards to sustainability to where you want to go. So keywords are science-based, stakeholder-based, and development of transition pathways. These transition pathways are the optimal mixture of technologies, innovations, policies, fiscal and financial instruments, as well as upskilling and reskilling instruments that will allow you to make the transition from where you are to where you want to go. Now, where you want to go is easy to define because we have global policies, and these global policies have been transposed into regional policies. For example, the SDG framework of UN Agenda 2030 with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, 4 about the environment, 8 about the society, 4 about the economy, and 1 about the collaboration of the goals, has been transposed into the European Green Deal. The European Green Deal, in order to transpose the SDGs, basically created 150 different laws and regulations and directives the last 4 years that need now to be implemented in order to achieve what we have pledged to achieve by 2030 and 2050. So by 2050, we have pledged to achieve climate neutrality. We have pledged to achieve reduction of pollution and protection of human life and biodiversity, clean tech leadership for European companies, and also a just transition, leave no one behind. This is our pledge, and this pledge has been transposed into these 150 regulations. So these are our targets, right? Now, in order to create the pathways to our targets, we need to know where we are, right? Because if we want to close a gap between where we are and achieving the targets that you see on this slide, which is a bird's eye view of the whole regulatory scenery in Europe. There are similar regulatory sceneries in the US, in Asia, and so on. But the important thing is that they exist nowadays, and they have not been there 5 years ago. So this is huge progress. We have translated into an explicit policy framework where we want to go. The challenge, the second challenge, is where we are. Can we agree where we are? In order to agree where we are, we need a quantification of implementation approach. And every year, the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, I lead the global climate hub of this network and the European hub. The whole network has 2,000 institutions. The European hub that I lead has 900 institutional members, universities and research institutions. And every year we produce this report that showcases where the globe stands with regards to the implementation of each of the SDGs and each of the 169 targets within them. Red means major challenges, below 60% achievement, significant challenges in orange, yellow is challenges remain, and SDG achieve in green. And you can see on the left, on the right-hand side of the screen that in order to achieve the goals by 2030, we really need to change the slope of the progress, that is the pace of the progress dramatically. We are not going to achieve the goals by 2030. However, it is possible, given the technological progress and the progress in which this technology is adopted and new knowledge is created, the capacity building is built to achieve it by 2050. And it is important to give the same goals because they are already embedded in policies and laws, national laws. So we don't want to start again from scratch like we did with the Millennium Goals. And this measurement allows you to have a closer look of how we are in terms of the sustainability of our food systems, our climate systems, our land use systems, our marine use systems, our water systems. They don't look good. They are very red across the globe. We also publish every year the European Sustainable Report that I co-author. Europe is the leader in the implementation of sustainability, but still major challenges remain, and most of the challenges are for the environmental systems. So the environmental goals are in red, the rest are in yellow. So climate, marine systems, land use systems, food systems are in red, and responsible consumption and production is in red. So we are facing major challenges in integrating natural capital in an efficient and sustainable way in our production and consumption processes. This is the concluding remark. What is interesting is that you can also downscale further and measure what happens in Greece, and detail what happens at different scales, global, regional, national scale, and follow this every year, even every 6 months, even every month, so that you know if you're making progress and you know where you're lacking behind, and you use this instrument in order to focus your budget and energy on the areas where you have serious gaps. And you can articulate this not just in terms of the average, but in terms of each SDG and each of the indicators that are there to collectively identify the progress of implementation in the SDG. And you can even downscale to countries, and within countries, regions. We have done this for Greece, we have done this for many countries, and you can even downscale this to institutional and company level. You can measure the level of implementation of SDGs on the value chain of a company, on the value chain of a university, of a value chain of any institution, foundation, be it national, international, multilateral, and you can identify the gap from where you are to where you want to go, and then revise the business and investment plan of that particular entity so that you accelerate the progress towards achieving what you need to achieve. I will mention another 2 things, and then I will give the floor to the other speakers. One of our major initiatives is the SDSN Global Climate Hub, and it is really building on this need for being able to accurately measure and model solution pathways. So in this effort, we said that we need to know where we are. So measuring the level of current implementation of the SDGs and achieving agreement between the stakeholders on this measurement. It does not serve anybody if I measure something and the Ministry of Environment does not agree with me, and the financiers, those that are going to finance investments from the banks, the commercial, the multilateral banks, do not agree with my measurements, and civil society does not agree with my measurements. So the measurement is not just a quantification process, it's not just a scientific process, it's a process where social cohesion is important in terms of being a process that allows all stakeholders to have a say about the choice of the KPIs and the validity of the data and the validity of the equations and the models that are used to quantify sustainability. And at the end of the day, achieve a consensus that, yes, this is a correct measurement of where we are. So we agree where we are in terms of explicit quantification through scientific quantification, but also intradisciplinary participatory stakeholders engagement in a consensus of the validity of the quantification process. And then we also have our policies that make our target explicit. And then what we do is that we build pathways towards achieving our policies. And this is exactly what the Global Climate Hub that I chair is doing. At least 100 researchers are involved in this. We are working in 160 countries now. The aim is to reach 198 countries, the countries that are members in the UN. And what we do is that in an integrated mathematical modeling approach with downscale climate scenarios, we we simulate different energy and transport system transition pathways. We also integrate the land use and marine use system pathways. We integrate health systems and innovation systems, and then we embed everything in a general equilibrium socioeconomic system in order to create the optimal mixture for each country, the optimal mixture of technologies, innovation, policies, fiscal and financial instruments that can support the transition, that can support the transformation from where we are today to where we want to go by 2030 and where we want to go by 2050. And these are very detailed, explicit plans that are discussed, are developed by scientists, but are discussed throughout the process of development with the local stakeholders. And at the end of the day, and the whole procedure is very holistic and very innovative, and it has been published in Nature. And at the end of the day, this platform will be populated, which will be completely open access with all the data that we need for developing these transition pathways, all the models, the results of the models, and also tools that enable the stakeholders, the interested stakeholders, to use the data, use the models, understand the results, decision support tools, visualization tools, digital twins that allow you to use the wealth of information on this platform and refine your transition pathways. So this will be fully available once it's ready. It uses a lot of AI-based processes in order to collect, produce the needed data, the needed models, and it also capitalizes on developments in machine learning on many angles that where problems exist, problems like data deficiencies, models inaccuracies, dealing with uncertainties and deep uncertainties, and so on. And finally, one other thing that we need to keep in mind, and I will close with this, is that in order to implement on this, first of all, in order to produce something that is co-designed and co-owned by the shareholders, and then produce something that is actually going to be implemented, you need the shareholders to be not just engage, but have the capacity to engage. And this is the worrying bit. And this is the one that I'm going to be closing with. In COP, we have one of the reports that we have presented in COP is this report on the available skills and occupations for implementing the European Green Deal. As I told you, the European Green Deal is a bunch of 150 laws and regulations and initiatives and directives that are there to support the four main axes of European Green Deal on climate neutrality and resilience, clean environment and protection of natural resources and people for pollution, clean tech leadership, and a just transition. These 150 laws, in order to be implemented, they require specific skills and occupations. And we've done an AI analysis in order to create exactly which are the skills that are needed and which are the occupations that can support the availability of these skills in the labor market. And once we've constructed these skills and occupations, we have asked the questions, are these skills and occupations available in the European job market today? And the answer, unfortunately, is that 85% of them are missing. If we don't have the skills and the occupations that are going to implement the policies that we have designed as our targets for the transition, how on earth are we going to make progress? Even if we have the best technology, the best optimal mixture of solution pathways, which is what we scientists work on, even if we have all the finance in the world, and we do have this finance, because the finance is not going to come only from the fiscal space of the nations. It's not just government money. It's creating clever public-private partnerships for funding projects, lucrative projects, in the global north, but also in the global south. And this is something I personally work on as an advisor to G20, which is now G21 because the African Union has become part of it. But even if we have the money and we have the best science and the best technology that details the transition, we can implement nothing without the capacity in the labor market. So the first investment that needs to be done, and it needs to be done very quickly, in an investment on upskilling and reskilling with regards to what is needed to actually implement our policy targets that have already been transposed into legal obligations within countries. On that note, I will stop. I will thank you for your patience, and I will open the floor to a much more interesting speaker than myself, my dear friend Bariş. The floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Phoebe. Also, thanks a lot for your kind words and your introduction. And I would like to thank you for inviting me to this very exciting webinar. Phoebe has already mentioned, today I will be trying to give you a perspective from the marine aspects. So I will try to talk about what are the human security risks from climate change, which you mostly know, but I will put it in the framework of marine research and how marine research contributes to human security. And I will talk about some of the work that we are carrying out at the Marine Science Institute and the Climate Center. And I will follow with climate change impacts on ocean seas and its effects on human security. Then I will talk about the two projects that Phoebe has already mentioned, the Black Sea Connect and the Bridge Black Sea projects. And I will finish with an overview on how innovation technology contributes to human security. Just a brief info about myself. I'm a physical oceanographer by training, but more and more I'm focusing on blue economy and climate change and sustainable development. And I'm the director of three different centers. One of them is the Marine Science Institute, the other one, Marine Ecosystems and Climate Center, and the Marine Climate Change and Sustainable Development Center. Our main campus is in Ankara, Middle East Technical University, but we are located at the Mediterranean coast, as shown here. And our three centers, the Marine Science Institute, the DECOSIM and Climate Center has the Climate Center has one branch here and one in Ankara. And we have been carrying out research in our mostly the seas surrounding Turkey, and we are focusing on understanding how the ecosystems are changing and how the services they provide to society is changing, and more we are focusing on the blue economy and how climate change and other stressors are affecting the services and the socio-economical aspects. Okay, so how does marine research contribute to human security? After being invited to this webinar, me and my colleagues, we sat down and gave some thought on this. And as you know, the seas and the oceans provide many services to humanity. And so they provide security to us as well. And just to list some of them is, for example, food security. This is not only fisheries, but other vital sources of food. And more we are switching to alternative sources, more plant-based sources. So there is a way for innovation there. And water security, the oceans play a crucial role in the water cycle, and also economic security. The oceans are one of the biggest economical forces at a global level. And health security, we utilize the oceans as a source of biomedical resources, and the marine organisms there offer many compounds for drug development. And healthy marine ecosystem provide very critical services, mainly some regulatory services like carbon sequestration, oxygen production, climate regulation, and energy security from the oceans is a very fast-growing field. And oceans are the main mechanisms that regulate Earth's climate. And community resilience and disaster risk reduction are the other security issues that we benefit, which I will talk more extensively. So when we look at the human security aspects, as the Institute and myself, we carry out many projects, and as Phoebe has already introduced, we are partners in many projects with them. And so I will be talking about environmental security aspects on impacts of climate change and economic security, sustainable blue growth, building resilience for both for the ecosystems and the communities, and how the seas and oceans contribute to health and personal security. Okay, we all know that we are almost there. So this year most probably will be documented as the year, as the warmest year in history, and the first year above 1.5 degrees. And the trends, how this warming goes, is increasing, it's accelerating. But what are the other implications? For example, one of the findings, recent findings, has shown us the planet's life support system, its ecosystems, both on land and in the ocean, are about, they're at the brink of a collapse, right? Last year, Earth's land, forests, and soils did not absorb any carbon dioxide. So this sink of carbon dioxide by them and the source were almost equal. And the seas, we know that they are more and more unstable in terms of regulating the carbon uptake. Why oceans are so critical in terms of carbon uptake? Because oceans are the main mechanism that uptakes carbon from the atmosphere and sinks it to the bottom of the ocean. And how does this happen? During the daytime, the oceans photosynthesize, store carbon dioxide, the atmospheric plants there. And every night, what we see, the biggest migration on this planet towards the ocean floor, where billions of zooplankton, other microscopic animals and bigger animals migrate to the surface, and then they carry this carbon to deeper parts of the ocean. And this system is becoming unstable, and we don't even know to what extent. And what happens when the system becomes unstable? As you know, the air we breathe, most of it comes from the oceans. Oceans play a very critical role in terms of carbon uptake and storage, in terms of climate regulation, in terms of the planet's heat regulation. And as I have mentioned, they provide many services to us that I will be talking about. So first, I would like to talk about the Black Sea Connect project and the One Health approach that we have undertaken there. Black Sea is one of the seas that's suffering under many different stressors. These stressors include, of course, climate change, but also eutrophication, acidification. Recently, sea snow from Marmara Sea, it was transferred to the Black Sea, chemical pollution, and it's one of the biggest basins that's deoxygenated. It's an anoxic, mostly anoxic basin, right? So we try to understand how we can provide strategies and solutions to the sea. To achieve that, we have carried out the Black Sea Connect project, and there what we did is that we have developed the strategic innovation and research agenda for the Black Sea. So this agenda provided priorities for the national agendas through science diplomacy, and we have also developed its implementation plan. And of course, raise awareness and capacity building activities were part of it. The end product was the implementation plan of the research and innovation agenda. And one of the main activities under the implementation plan was on healthy and safety for the Black Sea coasts. So what did it include? So we have adopted the One Health approach to the marine systems here. So we targeted the well-being of coastal populations, which cannot be separated from resilience and health of marine and coastal ecosystems. So here we have addressed climate-driven extreme events that are potential risk of including the potential risk of marine geohazards, submarine landslides, earthquakes. These will also be triggered with climate change. Also understanding how sea level rise and coastal floods will affect the communities as well as the ecosystems. And as I said, geohazard-related coastal risk, pollution accidents, and also armed conflicts, which is going on in the Black Sea today. So these were all proposed as the risks in the Black Sea, and we have proposed different joint actions which should take place in a short amount of time among the short-term plans for the Black Sea. Also understanding the harmful algal blooms, jelly blooms, which are happening quite often in the Black Sea was one of the joint actions. Identifying the ecosystem impact of the war, also military destructive activities in the Black Sea, which is also occurring at the moment, was another joint action which was proposed by this plan. And among different extreme events, which you all know, marine heat waves is the one that's affecting the oceans most. And here in the upper panel, you see how the frequency of these events will increase, both in the under the optimistic scenario, which is shown with blue, and also under the worst scenario shown with black. But not only their frequency increases, but their intensity and duration also increases. So this increasing heat waves will have huge impacts on species habitats, for example, also on economics of fisheries, and they will also affect different habitats like corals in the oceans. And we are looking at how these are affecting the Black Sea as well. And Black Sea Connect project was very successful, not successful maybe, but very impactful, I should say. And I have to mention that we got prizes. We were recognized both at national level, but also at the EU level, and received many awards. I would like to switch to the Bridge Black Sea project and the efforts that we are carrying out there and how that links to human security. Digital twins are nowadays being used, starting from health issues, simulating human organs to the planet Earth. And we are also utilizing the digital twins for the oceans. And how we are utilizing these towards security is that, as I have mentioned, once we have a digital twin ocean, we can understand how climate affects the ecosystems and the services that the oceans provide, and we can develop mitigation and adaptation measures for the oceans, as well as towards developing different solutions for ecosystem-based fisheries and aquaculture. These digital twins are used, and as well as for economic security. In terms of energy security, I will mention nowadays renewable energy integrated at offshore platforms are becoming more critical, and these are one of the biggest growing economic sectors. And also under different what-if scenarios, climate scenarios, under different pressures, we can address public safety and contribute to knowledge and governance. What we have adopted under the Bridge project is the main aim of the project is towards building a safe operating space and defining its boundaries for the marine environment. To achieve so, we have designed the Bridge Black Sea project under 3 nodes. Under the first node, we are addressing the service dynamics that the marine ecosystem provides to us, its status, and how it will change under different stressors, including the climate change. And under the Blue Growth incubators, we provide an operational platform to translate scientific knowledge to business opportunities and to support the ocean economy in the Black Sea, which Alice will also talk about, the Blue Economy Observatories of the Black Sea. So to address this safe operating space and define its boundaries, we integrated this into a Black Sea digital twin ocean, which wasn't available at the beginning of the project. So this is an additional work we are doing under the Bridge Black Sea project. So we have developed this portal, which is supported by different nodes of the Bridge project. So under the first node, we are collecting the data. So the data pool is there. And also here under the Blue Economy Observatories, different scenarios were developed for the Black Sea. And these different scenarios, together with climate scenarios and other pressures, are being tested by different models that are developed. These models are integrated model of the ecosystem and the physical models for the Black Sea. And we are testing 2 different IPCC scenarios. And to define the boundaries, one of the strongest tools that we are using is the resilience analysis of the ecosystem and its services that are provided. And to address multi-stressor risks and their impacts, we are utilizing the machine learning tools and cumulative effect assessments. And this has become a decision support tool that all the different stakeholders can utilize. So the core of this digital twin is the Black Sea ecosystem. So we have developed coupled models for the Black Sea. So here on the left, you see how oxygen levels are changing in the 3D and how temperatures will change in the future. And the circulation fields are changing, and Black Sea is under risk. For example, it's already losing some of its critical water masses, which I will mention. And so under changing atmospheric carbon dioxide levels, we are testing SSP1 2.6 and SSP5 8.5 for the Black Sea. And here you see some of the results which we have very recently produced for the Black Sea. By the end of the century, we see that the stratification in the Black Sea will increase, and the oxygenated layer will become thinner which means the life in the Black Sea will be trapped to a smaller area. This has risks towards also for human health, because unoxygenated waters are increasing to the surface. Primary production and the food provisioning services of the sea is also decreasing, and we need to carefully address this, and we need to support the Black Sea ecosystems to have more climate resilient ecosystems. And lastly, I would like to tell you a little bit about how technology and innovation in the seas can help support human security. One of the promising technology developments today is the multi-use ocean technology platforms. This is an emerging concept which supports zero carbon industries together with increased carbon uptake by ocean ecosystems. So we have developed a project also together with Phoebe. This is a true integration of how academia and industry support each other. So this is a very big consortium where we are addressing 5 different pillars, and under these different pillars we are developing platform design for different seas: Black Sea, Mediterranean, Marmara Sea, developing hybrid offshore renewable energy technologies, and phototype platform installation, extraction of raw materials and hydrogen from the sea, and blue biotechnology, so food and other products from the seas, part of this platform. And this platform supports many human security aspects. Sorry, I couldn't switch to the next slide. So it promotes public health through renewable energy. So this is a zero carbon system, and also we are testing different ways of increasing carbon dioxide by the oceans, extraction of raw materials, including lithium and green hydrogen from the seas to support green transition is part of this project, and environmental security aspects like unmanned vehicles and unmanned airborne vehicles are part of these. The integration with digital twins and pharmaceutical nutrient supplements and natural resource-based products will be also produced under this platform. So with this, I think I'm almost running out of time. I would like to end my talk. I hope I have provided an insight on our efforts on from the marine perspective. Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much, Bari. Indeed, massive efforts to bring science and technology into the socio-economic framework and achieve impact. And it is indeed not easy, but it is needed, and it can only be done by true collaboration between a big number of institutions and disciplines. And it's expensive, and it uses taxpayers' money. So our responsibility is huge, because we design solutions for the survival of our species, and we are using a lot of the resources that we have as a society to do that. And this is why we all feel very, we all feel the big responsibility. We all need the engagement of all other stakeholders. And when it becomes obvious that these kind of efforts are really the crucial ones, I think the mainstreaming of additional funding towards these efforts will be possible. So thank you very much, Barry. Our next speaker is Dr. Kostas Dellis, who will be talking about quantification matrices of the human security concept, a concept that has been pioneered in a recent project by the World Academy of Art and Science, a project led by the president of the Academy, who is here with us, Gary Jacobs, and it has also been endorsed by the Inter-Academy Partnership, where I represent the World Academy of Art and Science as one of the main annual themes of the Inter-Academy Partnership, and a follow-up statement is coming. The Inter-Academy is forthcoming, beginning of 2025. The Inter-Academy Partnership is a partnership of more than 80 academies, scientific academies around the world. And in order to issue a statement, it has to be endorsed by at least 50% of these academies. So endorsing a statement, it's a scientific achievement already. And we are very happy that this initiative of the World Academy of Art and Science is being endorsed there. Much. Kostas, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for introducing and all the presentations. I'll try to share my screen. Our presentation, the joint work for the Global Climate Hub and Aephoria team led by Professor Koundouri on this effort to create cross-country metrics for human security. So in the lines of the human security assessment, cross-country human security from the Aephoria network, which I'm a senior researcher in climate adaptation, climate finance, and economics of innovation. My background is economics of growth and innovation, but this presentation is about us creating the human security cross-country measurement dashboard. So in the context that we have discussed and that everyone in this panel knows and has shared, this common vision of security embedded in the human security approach is indispensable for the future of humanity in the era of the polycrisis. So aligned with the objectives of the Aephoria network and the Global Climate Hub, it is in the need of a people-centered, environmentally sensitive, and context-specific approach, which is exactly what the human security approach envisions and puts into practice. And it is closely linked, obviously, to the human development, having started in the auspices of the Human Development Report back in the 1990s, so the turn of the century. But it focuses at the individual level rather than the macro level. So what this research and ongoing research is all about is developing this comprehensive set of harmonized indicators to assess the dimensions of the human security, 8 dimensions of human security, which we will be talking very, very soon, in the lines of, let's say, the Sustainable Development Report, which is also work under the auspices of the UN SDSN. So we try to develop this holistic framework whereby we integrate different and diverse data sources and actually complement traditional approaches with machine learning techniques, so language models, to extend and bolster the range of indicators that we use to create these cross-country metrics. So the 8 dimensions of human security, traditionally 7, but we have added technological security, giving extra care to the recent developments of cybersecurity threats, the rise of authoritarian rule and its implications for access to technology, and the rise of digital fake news and propaganda mechanisms, but also incorporating the ever-increasing impact of climate change and biodiversity degradation into the traditional aspects, dimensions of human security. This has helped us compartmentalize the way that we construct these indicators and that way we form material issues and KPIs, as we will show. So a common theme, a recurring theme, is how does this reconcile with the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agenda? And we tend to view the two notions as complements rather than substitutes. We mentioned that human security focuses on the individual, the freedom of want, and the freedom from harm. However, the SDG frameworks of the Paris Agenda, albeit at a national level, it provides this policy framework whereby we can achieve the targets and the objectives set by the human security perspective. So this UN Trust Fund for Human Security highlights that human security is both an analytic lens and the programming framework that complements and enriches the mechanism to attain the Sustainable Development Goals. So we tend to view them as aligned procedures and processes. This is why we have given the same effort. We have dedicated a lot of effort into these metrics as we have done with the SDG measurement. So what we want to do is to create these cross-country indicators for each and every one of the human security aspects or dimensions. We base our analysis on the sub-targets of the SDGs, but we do not constrain ourselves to these. So we have a holistic framework to better depict all aspects of human security. We enrich this with machine learning techniques to create this unique set of indicators. So this using data from news, blogs, and online services. And our aim is to create easy to navigate visuals and dashboard, not just for research and analysis, but also for assisting informed policy making in the process. So why do we need these metrics? As Professor Koundouri mentioned, if you cannot measure it, you cannot understand it, you cannot change it, which is the ultimate goal. So we want to track the progress and the trends in specific indicators and aspects. So we develop this panel, this longitudinal data set with the help of all the researchers here in Aephoria. We aim to be able to promote the accountability by setting clear targets and benchmarks across countries and across years. This will help inform decision-making and the policy-making progress, and to align with the global development agendas, for example, the SDG framework that we discussed earlier, but also with national and regional policy strategies. So our timeline is we have identified the material issues that are crucial for the eight dimensions of human security. Then we have assigned and collected data on individual indicators, so key performance indicators for each material issue. We set numerical targets, so policy targets that are well defined, for example, 0 level of undernourishment. But in other cases, as is the standard procedure, we do benchmarking techniques based on the data at hand. Then these form into composite indicators. So the raw data, the raw KPIs form these composite indicators for each material issue, each human security dimension, and in the very end, one aggregate score for human security performance, so to speak, to create an interactive dashboard. And at a later stage, we are in the process of using these hybrid indicators, so these language model, the large language model techniques, to add more hybrid indicators to the indicator mix. So just a very, very brief overview on the material issues. I know it is not that clear in this screen. However, each of the 8 aspects has below the material issues that we have identified based on meticulous research of the relevant literature and all the human security related reports. Each of these then sets the tone by having distinct KPIs. So this is just focusing on the aspect of economic security. I know it's too small to read, but it goes to show the way in which we perform. And following standard procedures, we build from the individual key performance indicators by constructing these harmonized scores from 0 to 100, as is the case, setting upper and lower bounds, as discussed, either through science-based or policy targets, where this is the case, or through benchmarking using the distribution of the series at hand each time. So we get a set of KPIs marked from 0 to 100 for each material issue. Then this goes upstream by creating a composite score per material issue through simple averaging across all KPIs. Then the next step is to create the score for the dimension, and the final score is the weighted average. Because of data availability, we can have small divergence between the number of KPIs in each material issue, but in the end, it is a weighted average of all these scores. So it's a common procedure. So in a nutshell, without equations, which some people find annoying, the raw data is stepwise transformed into this composite score for each material issue, human security aspect, and human security total score, to create a dashboard using the well-known traffic light system, so to indicate the level of performance, red, yellow, orange, and green being target achieved, and also accounting for the progress towards the target, as we do with the SDGs, through a direction system, so the arrow system. However, there is no clear target, there's no, so to speak, Paris Agreement for the human security aspects. However, based on the distribution and looking at the historical data for each KPI and aspects, so we have data from 2000 onwards, we attempt, at least for the time being, to create these arrow systems, so showing progress. So just a snapshot, a very short set of countries at this point due to issues with data availability, but it's a work in progress. So we have this OECD plus country sets, OECD countries plus a couple more, which the OECD also reports. This is what the dashboard looks like. And this is how we set each target based each category of scores. So this traffic light system, and then the composite scores help us to create cross-country measurements. For example, here we can see the distribution and the. So at this point, we can see the better performance of, for example, the Nordic countries in the OECD, and the stark issues of food security in India, Indonesia, and South Africa. We can also have a first look into countries with high levels of economic and political insecurity, for example, India, Mexico, Turkey on the right-hand panel. But this is going to be enhanced with the inclusion of more countries and more indicators in the process. We do the same type of visualizations by material issue. I've just randomly chosen children's well-being and food utilization and dietary patterns, just to show that we can disaggregate the level of analysis. So the final step is using the.
Yeah, probably he lost his connection in the last few minutes, but I think he almost completed what he had to say, Kostas. So I suggest we move forward to Professor Ioannidis. Professor Ioannidis is. Hello, Kostas. Do you want to finalize?
Yeah, sorry about that. Just we need to recalibrate the digital score for Greece, revise it downward, especially for the university area. So the hybrid metrics are the work that is currently in progress to enhance online news outlets, social media platforms, forums, and blogs, as well as engine query trends from social media and other online outlets. This is the complementary work that is being currently done.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very interesting. Alice, the floor is yours. Alice is a researcher at the Athens, at the Athena Research and Innovation Center in the Sustainable Development Unit, and which is part of the Alliance of Excellence for Research and Innovation on Aephoria. And she will be talking about co-designing and stakeholder participatory approaches for solution pathways in the blue economy space. Alice, can you share your presentation?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much, Professor Koundouri, for the introduction. So this afternoon, I will be talking about, so more specifically, actually, on how to measure sustainability within the blue economy, and maybe not necessarily highlighting ways and innovative tools and practices, but I want to maybe take a step back and looking at what are still the remaining challenge despite the new tool that we have at hand. Here we go. And this works fall under many projects that we have within the umbrella of the blue economy as part of the Alliance of Excellence of Research and Innovation on Aephoria. Myself, I'm a geographer, and I have a particular interest on sea and coastal management. And today I will present some of the output from one of our main projects, the Bridge Black Sea project that have also been mentioned by Bariş before. So I will first of all highlight once again the critical need to measure sustainability within the blue economy, as well as a quick overview of some of the existing framework that we could use, and then have a focus on the Black Sea Blue Economy Observatory that we are currently developing as part of Aephoria, and the main challenge that are still remaining and potential recommendation. Again, an overview. So the maritime economy has been experiencing an exponential growth over the past 40 years. And have been allowing we have been, so based on those like maritime activities, they've been providing food and energy of over billions of people, but also allowing better communications and trade of goods, as well as tourism activities, or even like the production of marine genetic resources. However, this blue acceleration is not without impact on the ocean. Indeed, like the marine environment is under multiple pressures, such as increased pollutions, loss of biodiversity, and the habitat degradation, also increased temperature and acidification. So it is actually very critical to be able to measure sustainability of human activities that are taking place on the sea and on the coast. So at the moment, actually, we do have innovative technologies that allow maritime activities to move towards sustainability. For example, nowadays, so the use of innovative monitoring systems and tracking system, for instance, for the fishery activities. New technology based on artificial intelligence and machine learning or Internet of Things also allow us to monitor the underwater marine environment, as well as support more efficient logistic processes within the maritime transport and port logistics, for instance, to help reducing waste and energy consumptions, as well as impacting the marine environment. Also, all those new technologies allow us to collect a massive amount of data and to better manage it. But the question remains as how to effectively measure the sustainability within the blue economy activities, and how to have a very robust framework and metrics that allow us to capture the sustainability of each and every maritime activities in order to ensure that those activities can be developed and are like economically viable, environmentally viable, and socially equitable. Of course, we do have existing framework at the international level mainly. So the main example, as has been mentioned before, is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals with a dedicated SDG on life below water. But this framework specifically is allow us to capture the more like environmental aspect of the blue economy and measures the environmental impact of different activities. And again, it's very much focused on potential impact and how to measure sustainability of the fishery sectors and not necessarily all the activities. Another interesting framework is the Ocean Health Index. Again, try to be quite holistic, but still really focusing on the health of the ocean itself. So how again human anthropogenic activities are impacting the oceans and to ensure that how to limit actually those impacts. And again, this one is capturing a bit more a wider range of activities, but still not necessarily like all the maritime activities. A final interesting framework that I wanted to highlight today is the Blue Donut. They're pretty recent framework. Here it's more like focusing on trying to capture the social aspect of the blue economy and how to measure that the development of the blue economy is actually socially equitable. However, it's still like a very recent framework. It hasn't necessarily been implemented at a wide scale, so tested and implemented, and still doesn't necessarily focus on each and every sectors of the blue economy. So still with some limitation if we're talking about the sustainable development of the blue economy. So another more like concrete tool to measure the sustainable development of the blue economy is the European Union Blue Economy Observatories. So this is a tool, it's an online platform that allow access to a wide range of information and data and try to monitor the progress of the sustainable development of maritime activities with different sections. We have one on like country specific sections, another one that is more focusing on how the sectors are evolving, and most interestingly for today's topic, a dashboard that allow us to visualize specific indicators to monitor the blue economy. And those indicators can also be downloaded and allow us to compare different blue economy activities as well as the status within different countries. However, again, here once more we can highlight some kind of shortcoming because if we look more in details of those indicators, they remain focusing on monitoring and measuring the economic aspect of the blue economy. And we don't necessarily have indicators related to the environmental aspect. So how each activities move towards more sustainable practices. We have very few indicators related also to the social aspect. So then moving on to what we are doing at Aephoria. So as part of the framework of the European Union H2020 Bridge Black Sea project, we are currently developing a Blue Economy Observatory for the Black Sea, which has been mentioned by Bariş. And here, the idea is really to taking example of what has been done so far at the European level, implementing in the Black Sea region, and try to move forward and be a bit more like holistic in terms of a set of metrics that really can capture the full concept of sustainable development. So having indicators as much focusing on the economic aspect as much as the environmental and the social aspect. And of course, we will provide information related to the status of the different sectors of the blue economy in the Black Sea regions, as well as scenarios and roadmaps that have been currently developed to support the sustainable development of the blue economy, such as transformative pathways and other imaginary scenarios that have been developed and that are ongoing. And finally, we also provide like a section on maritime policies and financial information. So why we want to do this? So as I mentioned before, of course, to measure the progress towards transitioning to sustainability. It will also be a tool that will support the implementation of those blue transformative pathways that have been co-developed with local stakeholders as part of the Black Sea project in each of the Black Sea countries, where we implemented living labs and all representative of the blue economy sectors were there and work on co-designing those pathways and identifying key solutions and innovations to support the achievement of the visions that they've been co-developing. And of course, having a tool that can measures the progresses in each and every sectors will be key in implementing and effectively going towards transforming the blue economy in the region. And also, and quite importantly, it will highlight and fill the gaps in terms of monitoring the blue economy in the region, because at the moment we do not have access to an overall holistic tool or even database that combine all the potential monitoring indicators and different data regarding each and every sectors of the blue economy. And we're currently having a survey ongoing to ensure that this tool will answer the actual needs and challenges within the region, so targeting potential users throughout the region. And we can see that there is a real interest in having such a tool implemented. So as an example, what we've been doing so far, so we started to have try to have a wide inventory and overview of what are the main indicators that are currently used within each and every sector of the blue economy, and how this could be applied to the Black Sea region. So here the different colors highlight which indicators is related to which type of indicators. So in red we have indicators related to the economic aspect, in yellow indicators related to the social aspect, and in green potential indicators related to the environmental aspect. So as you can see, we still mostly have indicators related to the economic aspect, while very few indicators are currently used within the blue economy activities regarding the monitoring of social aspects. So by doing such inventory and starting to locate the potential data source, this is where we are facing quite a few challenges, and monitoring still remained challenging, I would say, especially in terms of identifying the data, collecting the data, ensuring that they are available and accessible. So key points based on our experience so far, we still have many data that actually do not exist. Even if we have trying to identify very common indicators, they still not necessarily are collected in terms of data by all countries. And particularly when it comes to cross-cutting indicators, so indicators that are more related to sustainability overall. For instance, the existence of like sustainable certification and labels, which can actually monitor whether a specific activities is implementing sustainable practices. Here we have pretty much no data in any of the countries. In terms of social indicators, also, as an example, gender balance is actually rarely monitored within the blue economy activities. Another major challenge is that across countries, even if like we're talking about like the same region, with each and every country still use a different matrix. We do not have standardized protocol for collecting data. across country. We often have countries that even if they try to monitor the same indicators, they will collect and provide data in different units or different scales for the same indicators. Another challenge is that generally data are scattered across different organizations. So we do not have one single institution in a specific country that will collect data relating to all sectors of the blue economy. So we have to deal with organization at international level or at national or local level. It's also about data is also scattered between public and private institutions. So here again, we reach sometimes like a wall in terms of even being able to access those data, even if they know that they do exist, but they are not publicly available, they're not freely available. We often need to ask permission to get those data. So this is a major challenge, and maybe within the context of the Black Sea, we can see that there is still not a culture of sharing data, potentially linked to a lack of trust across partners, across countries in the region. There is potentially this aspect of like competitiveness taking over the collaborative aspect, and this is a barrier, is a massive barrier to monitor and to access those data for sustainability. So then this, of course, has a major impact on which kind of indicators we can effectively use to sustainably monitor the blue economy. And so how to access those data, ensuring that they are like a standardized format. And of course, that the last major element is the update of those data, which again is quite diverse. So to conclude, in terms of like potential recommendations, still like very not exhaustive at all. In order to sustainably monitor the blue economy activities, there is a real need of an harmonized framework. First of all, the first step will be at sea basin level. And this framework should really be based on a solid metric on environmental, social, and economic indicators for sustainability. Of course, this cannot be done without a real political will and commitment in accurately monitor the different maritime activities, and of course ensuring that those data are shared, are accessible, and are like freely usable. The main point is that
can you please try to wrap up in the next?
It's my final slide, so I'm done then.
Okay, thank you.
So I just wanted to mention two final elements. So the blue economy can really capitalize on the digital transformations and using artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things to collect those data in an easy and fast ways. And finally, so having open data access and visualization, so I do believe blue economy observatory tools, as much as a digital twin of the ocean, as it has been previously mentioned, are like very good tool to support the sustainable measurement of within the blue economy. And that's my final slide. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much. And without indeed a very inclusive presentation of all the efforts that we do in order to map, gather in a usable way the needed data for observing and monitoring the oceans. With no further ado, I would like to give the floor to Professor Ioannidis, the president of the World Computer Machinery Association. Professor Ioannidis, the floor is yours. Yannis, the floor is yours. Yannis is a very good friend and a very close collaborator, especially with regards to all that we do in the Global Climate Hub of the UN. Yannis, the floor is yours.
My presentation is about digital technologies, and everything that the previous presenters talked about was for specific efforts collecting data, modeling, and so on. All this requires digital technologies. I'm a digital person, so I will talk about a little bit for background things, not for specific things. And that's why I said, let's not break the flow. So you saw it kind of in some of the other presentations. When we talk about social challenges, this picture of the various disaster waves really has haunted me from the first time that I saw it. And this series is about human security and measuring sustainability. All of these lead to human insecurity. So how can we do that? And of course, the UN has established the Sustainable Development Goals in the Agenda 2030. Now they're pushed, and this is one picture. I mean, there's a bunch of them, grouping them in various ways, but that's one that is fine. We are all familiar with this, and this is what people are trying to talk about, and you saw particular efforts for some of them. And if you look at the disaster waves, you see that every wave is intimately related to some of the SDGs, some of them with one, some of them with more. But anyway, the human insecurity is really affected as much as we don't achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. What can we do about human security? And this is my role and the role of my community. These are the 169 targets, and 70% of them are digital dependent on all goals. Humanity cannot achieve the goals without people like me. And if we go into the indicators, whose number is increasing, the key question is what data is available in order to be able to measure them. This is a slightly older picture, but I don't think there has been much progress in terms of achieving, because of having the right data in order to achieve them. So you see, digital technologies, data are intimately related in our ability to achieve. If we look at digital technologies, what kind of digital technologies are relevant in this picture? And we look at the relatively recent, the top strategic technology trends. What are the key things? And you'll see, of course, the number one is data fabric. What is the data that we depend on doing many things, including, as you saw examples, for achieving sustainability. And of the 12 that Gardner had highlighted, 5 have to do with automation and intelligence. Automation is intimately related to intelligence. So artificial intelligence and other forms of decision intelligence and so on are very key technologies that we need to employ. And you saw examples that are used in modeling and so on of the various socioeconomic phenomena and other phenomena to do that. I also want to pinpoint in issues of security and privacy. And this is not security, the human security that the series is titled with, but it's the security in the digital technologies, privacy of data in digital technologies. So that security affects human security as well. And I'll just highlight, but I won't mention it again, that we need a total experience, and technologies like virtual reality and mixed realities and so on help tremendously in making people aware about sustainability. So data science and AI. Data is the beginning of everything, and it has been established in many ways. I'm just showing you 3 front covers of major publications. There's a lot of talk about artificial intelligence. Don't believe anyone, believe me, data is the key. And if you look at any artificial intelligence pipeline or data science pipeline, this is a picture. There are many similar pictures like this. And we start with data, domain data, whether it's marine data that we heard amazing work from earlier, or the oceans, or anything else. You start with domain data. Then you do a whole bunch of work on data itself before you reach the intelligence. Then you have machine learning and artificial intelligence forms. And all this is done offline, of course. And then in the end, you apply, you have the inference, you run the models, and you get to visualize some of the data. And digital twins that were mentioned by many of the speakers are part of that, the modeling, the AI modeling, plus the top-down knowledge modeling is there. So you have various types of people, data people like myself, machine learning, artificial intelligence people, and in the end, the domain scientist, the one who tries to achieve sustainability. But what did I say? Data is at the very beginning. We need to measure this, otherwise everything else will not be applicable. And the key thing is that this should be openness. Openness, open science. It was under one great umbrella in one of the slides of Phoebe. We need, in order to have access to data, data has to be open. So open access and open science in general are key to achieving sustainability. And of course, the acronym is FAIR, findable, accessible, interoperable, reusable, but all these have to be openly such, openly findable, openly accessible, and not closed. This is key. And of course, it has to be quality data because it can be, you can find it, maybe reuse it, access it. But if it's garbage, garbage will come in the pipeline and garbage will come out. So these are key elements of the data. And this is the picture that Phoebe showed of the measuring and modeling platform that we are developing as part of the SDSN Global Climate Hub that Phoebe chairs and I co-chair on the digital side. And here are many models that are used and lots of data technologies and front-end capabilities. But the key element is data. That's where it all starts. And you can see Phoebe in the introduction, she mentioned various types, Internet of Things data, time series and spatial data, socio-economic data, and real-time data. And there are others. All of them can be humanly dependent. So privacy issues arise in all of them. Of course, there are others that are not humanly dependent and don't have this constraint. But this is the picture. And for the users, data processing may seem simple or given, so to say, but the complexity is tremendous. This is just a canonical representation of the architecture of a data management system. Each of these boxes has lots of technologies in it. So it's important to take advantage of this sophistication that exists in that. And if we look at the overall system, where one of these data management systems is connected to many others, and many applications are running on the cloud, in a data center, and communicating with other data centers. Of course, there are applications that don't need this kind of extended infrastructure, but many are, including to reach sustainability. Many of the things require such complexity on the digital technology side. And if this is data, of course, after data, yes, artificial intelligence comes in together with other types of modeling. And just to draw a picture, artificial intelligence follows more or less how we grow, how we become intelligent. I won't show the parallelism because due to lack of time, but essentially we have some technology, we feed it some data, technology is running, and then artificial intelligence is created. And then when we have a question posed to the artificial intelligence, some answer comes in, and then by using this AI, we have feedback that fits together with the data and technology, and this is how AI grows. This is the picture. I'll come back to it. It's of course very simplified, but there's no magic to it. And some aspects of it I'll come back to because it's important. So how do we use technologies, and how do you use impact? And what is the impact of using digital technologies, including AI? Well, we said, okay, digital technologies for sustainability. Here they are, digital technologies. And of course, we all say, and you saw a bunch of examples before, that we can use digital technologies having as goal to get a sustainable world. True. And this is happening. You saw examples, and it's happening everywhere. But the use of digital technologies also can work in the other direction and can create and can push towards an unsustainable world against the Sustainable Development Goals. So it is a double-edged sword, and it is the responsibility of primarily us technologists, but also others, how this technology is used. And I want to sensitize you in terms of that. So shall we trust these technologies, or is there fear? And across the community, not just for the sustainability context, many people are afraid of AI or data science and so on. Well, first of all, there are no bad technologies. It's not the technologies that may be problematic. It's the use of technologies. Only bad uses of technologies they are. So it is in our hands to use them in the appropriate way. We can use a technology to have robotic surgery and save people's lives, or we can use the same technologies for lethal autonomous weapons, which hopefully they will be banned and so on. So how do we use these technologies? We should always be careful about them. We should use them in an ethical and socially responsible way. And this is something that is easier said than done, but still we have to proceed in this direction. Well, if we use this technology, what is in this schematic only has, inanimate things, technology, data, and so on and so forth. But there are many humans in this AI life cycle. First of all, there is a poor human that builds this technology. There is a human that chooses the data and feeds the data into this technology. And of course, there's a human who poses the questions, and humans that interpret the answers of these questions into something, make decisions, and so on and so forth. So there are humans spread all over all this. So we control what is happening. And if we look at the dangers and challenges that this picture has, I'll highlight them, but it's up to us. Many of them are research issues that computing scientists and computing engineers are researching as we speak. Some others are issues of policymakers and so on, but we can address them. The quality and truth of the data, how do we check this? As we said, garbage in, garbage out. This is very important. There's data bias or algorithmic bias. So how do we compensate for this in order to have correct technology? Openness of data. This is very important. We need to have access to data. And how do we balance this with privacy of data when the data are related to humans? The energy needs of the technology. Running these things is not simple. It consumes tremendous amount of energy. It's predicted that by 2030, 10% of the energy needs of the world will come because of technological needs. Being able to explain the results of AI. It's not always trivial, especially when you have deep models, complicated models. How to train both the poser of questions and those that are consumers of the answers in order to not trust blindly what comes out. Accountability and safety of AI, and of course, existential threats. And just to give you an example on how some of these may, if we don't work on them and treat them rightly, work against the Sustainable Development Goals. I'll just show you energy needs, explainability, and existential threats. First of all, as I said, the energy consumption grows, and this is going directly against the Sustainable Development Goal 7. Renewable energy sources are a major issue, but currently we're not there yet. And the energy consumption from non-renewable sources is growing. So how do we make sure that this is minimized? And research is needed to that, and careful and care for how we use. Fear, loss of jobs by human jobs by robots. Here is human insecurity that is really occupying many of our fellow humans, and that's again an issue of Sustainable Development Goal 8. And last, lack of explanations. AI comes up with some result without being able to explain why it got these results, what is the logic behind it. And this goes, is an issue of Goal 5, 10, and 16, of course, justice, inequalities, both for gender and others. So yes, we do use AI and other digital technology, but we want them to be for human security, with social responsibility. And definitely the Association for Computing Machinery, the largest organization of computing professionals, more than 120,000 around the world, 195 countries. We do have members in all the countries that we want to achieve in the Global Climate Hub, Phoebe. It has a code of ethics, and we need to apply it in our everyday life. So definitely our sustainable future is in digital technologies and AI, but despite the dangers, the digital technology and AI is in our hands. So the last thing I want to leave you with, it is optimistic. Our sustainable future is in our hands, and all the wonderful things that you heard in the previous talks can be done, if done with care, give great results. Thank you in a bunch of languages.
Thank you very much, Yannis. A really exciting presentation. Indeed, technology has always been in the hands of people. And of course, this has not lessened the challenge of regulating its use in a way that is beneficial for humans' welfare, and it's supporting intergenerational growth and equity. And because we are reaching the end of our webinar, actually, we have reached the end of our webinar. I will ask Nebojša to just give a concluding one-sentence remark to say goodbye to our audiences.
Thank you very much, Phoebe. I was surprised. I can only say excellent. Phoebe, congratulations. Thank you. I'm thanking all the speakers on behalf of the Academy. And again, I was surprised with the contents of the knowledge we have heard about. Thank you very much, and goodbye. And I'm quite sure that we will meet soon, somewhere and somehow.